Hi, my name is Tanya McFadden,
And I'm Monica Chavez,
and we're from First American Title National Commercial Services, Indianapolis.
and today we're going to talk about 5 minutes on title in regards to investor and lender requirements as it relates to a tax credit transaction. And Tanya's going to go ahead and talk about the lender requirements first.
On a typical construction transaction, when we are required to insure a construction loan, we request certain information from the parties to be presented to us prior to closing so we can underwrite and make assessments regarding the transaction. And we typically request information such as a copy of an appraisal. We need to know if the construction has started or not. We need to get indemnitor information such as names and also financial information from them so we can see what, if they have deep pockets, if they can sign the indemnity construction agreements. That would give us a sense of security when we insure this type of closing. Our underwriters will review the information and we will prepare the construction lien indemnities. We will send them to the parties for execution. This is very important for us to do because first of all, we will give them the 32 and 33 coverage. And also when the closing happens, we will then obtain a request from them to do the construction draws. The construction draws can be done in different ways depending on what stage you're in. For example, in Indiana, typically the lender will request a construction draw, which we will then update the title commitment and see what items came up new of record. We will provide them with a title update and they will fund the draw directly. However, different states have different requirements, and some of the lenders in various states require for the draws to come through title. If that's the case, we have a construction group that we typically use that prepare escrow construction agreements that are being signed prior to closing, and they have a certain list of items that they need in order to make sure that they process the draws accurately, timely, and all the information is given to us at the time of the closing.
Yeah, and that's very important because some of that can take some time and we may need additional information. So the sooner that we can get that out to the parties so they can review and provide comments before sign off, and it's not a closing day scramble, the better for everybody. But so that's some of the questions that we may ask in regards to the construction component of what we're insuring. On another side are the investor requirements, and we do have a lot of those. It's very important to know those up front, what those requirements are, because you don't want to agree to something that may not be done. And a lot of times it's agreed upon in the partnership agreement, and we're not a party to that agreement, so we don't know exactly what the terms are, what the requirements are. So it's better to ask us than to agree to something and then expect us to do it at the end. Some of those may be a date down endorsement, which is a typical equity investor requirement before they fund a draw. It's usually maybe 3 or 4 they have throughout the term of the project. They want to make sure that everything is clean and that before they fund the draw, there's no mechanic liens or anything that's going to surprise them. So they really want to bring the owner's policy forward to that date, but unfortunately, we don't do that very often because it's very onerous and we don't want to insure the owner beyond the recording of the deed for their own acts. So it's hit or miss on the states that provide it. For Indiana, we don't provide it at all. So it's very important to relay that to your investor, because the only thing we can offer is an uninsurable search, and they have to get comfortable with that. And typically they do, because that's all we can provide. So they have to get comfortable, or maybe they don't do the deal. In Ohio, I just got a quote on a deal, $21 million, and I think the premium for that was roughly 3 times as much. So let's see, I wrote it down here. $63,000, and for a date down it was 25% of the premium. So that equated to $15,000 roughly, and that would be for 4 draws. So you're gonna have to either put that in your budget or to discuss that up front with your investor, saying, hey, we can do it, but it's gonna cost this much, so we don't wanna pay that much. Or if they require it, you're gonna have to pay it, and you're gonna have to put it in your budget and be comfortable with that, one way or another. So it's very important to discuss these up front with your title company, so you know what you can get, what and what the investor would settle for. In Texas, they have something called an NFC, which is a nothing further certificate. And I always say, don't mess with Texas because they're not going to give you the date down, but they'll give you an uninsurable product. But you have to know what that's called and know how to order it and work with your title company so that you're ordering the right product, because every state is different and every lingo is different, and your expectation may not be what you think it is when you're ordering it from state to state. So it's very important to know those points going into a deal up front, and then signing off on it in your LPA or your construction loan agreement. So that's our 5 minutes on title, unless you have something to add.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to add that, it's always important to talk up front, and we can discuss different options based on our experience and what we've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So any kind of scenario that you might have, we'd be more than happy to talk to you, give you the options, and then you can make your decision based on the information that's given to you.
Right, and we just want to say that no question can't be asked. Don't be afraid.
We've seen them all.
Yeah. Please feel free to ask your questions. We're here to help. We're here to figure out solutions, and we want your deal done as much as we want to get your deal. That's
Thank
it.
you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.